Hi, today I want to talk about Shadow and Bone. I watched it like pretty much immediately when it came out. I binged it in like one sitting. I didn't mean to. I kind of wanted to savor it a little bit. That would have been great. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It's only 8 episodes, I guess. It's not that bad. Anyways, today I'm here to talk about it because for the last 6 months or so here on my channel, I've been reading all of the Shadow and Bone books and the Six of Crows books. So I feel like it's only right that I review the Netflix adaptation. I will say I was very scared that it was gonna be bad. So I told myself I wasn't gonna get hyped for this and I wasn't gonna like get expectations. But then I ended up like watching like all the trailers and then even some interviews with the cast, and like after watching like one interview with the cast, like it was over for me. Like I accidentally get excited. I got really excited, and I think that's probably why I binged the whole thing. Yeah, I guess for the review, the first little part that I'm going to talk about right now is going to be spoiler free, but then I'm going to go into spoilers at the end of the video, just so you know. So, first of all, what I can say is that the whole thing looks beautiful. Like the world building, it's all just fleshed out very well. You know, the locations and the set design and the costuming, everything is really done meticulously, and like the small details, like very well done. I also found that everything looked very much like how I pictured it in my head, which is crazy because I feel like that never happens. But yeah, I'm very happy that the world looks and feels real, because one of my favorite things about these books is the world that they take place in. Like, it's such an intriguing world, and I'm just very, very happy that it just looks right. It looks really, really good. Second thing that I can say is that the casting, A+. Not only do the characters look the part, because a lot of them looked exactly like how I imagined them, except for maybe the Darkling, who I may or may not have pictured as Adam Driver, but that's besides the point. Not only do they look the part, they also really do these characters justice. Like, you can just tell that everyone puts so much heart into their performance, and it all just feels so real and genuine, and they just get the vibe exactly right. Not just the main characters, but also like the smallest side characters. Every single person I feel was just right, and that makes me so happy. There's even some characters from the Shadow and Bone books that I felt were portrayed better in this adaptation, mainly because, and this is a little criticism I have of the Shadow and Bone trilogy, is that some of the side characters felt a little bit flat to me. These side characters feel so much realer in the Netflix adaptation. They really like feel more fleshed out, and that just makes me so happy. One little thing I want to mention about this though, but this is something that irks me about every single fantasy thing on TV ever. It's that whenever filmmakers or TV makers want to do something fantasy, they make everyone speak with a British accent, and like maybe sometimes that works, but like a lot of the times we're in a fantasy place where there's fantasy languages and people come from different places. Why do all the main characters have to speak with a proper British accent? Why? Especially because the Shadow and Bone books, they take place in a world with so much variety. You have Ravka, which is based on Russia. You could have Russian actors playing these characters speaking English with a Russian accent. You've got the Zemeni people, you have the Suli people. A lot of the main characters are from different places where it makes sense for them to speak with different accents. Why are they all speaking like plain British? The only sort of main character that I noticed had an accent was Matthias, or Matthias. Apparently you're supposed to say Matthias. I kind of felt like he had a little bit of a Scandinavian accent. I don't know where he's from, but that's what I felt from him, and I was very happy about that. But everybody else, it's, you know, I just feel like it would add to the believability of the world and the characters if they spoke with accents. But of course, that's not me dissing the cast, because I still think everyone was casted beautifully. This is just like some problem that I have with every fantasy adaptation ever. As for the story, as you probably know, it follows the books of Shadow and Bone, but not everything is the same. Plus, we have some of the Six of Crows series storylines interwoven as well, although they're more like prequels. This worried me. Where do I start? I definitely feel like in the Shadow and Bone department of the story, it's been handled really well, and I think that the adaptation even improves on the books a little bit. In like some little areas, they made some really smart decisions, like how, and these are not spoilers, but Alina is half Shu in this adaptation, which really ties in great with her character, her motivations. I think that's a really good decision. Another thing they did is they gave Mal a lot more screen time, which made him a much more likable character, and I think that was necessary. And then you have the Six of Crows storyline interwoven, and I do like the storyline that they went with. I like it. However, I think because they added in this storyline of Kaz and Nej and Jasper, and then there's also the storyline of Nina and Matthias, all of that together, I think it was very ambitious for a first season. There was a lot of storyline to go through and a lot of characters to meet and fall in love with, and even though I liked all of the stories that were told, sometimes it felt a little bit too much. And I think this may have been like a time constraint thing because there's only 8 episodes, and they were like crammed really full with story, and I think it would have been great if they had like a couple more episodes just to let the story breathe a little bit more. I got confused sometimes because everything was going so fast, especially the Crows storyline, because that was all new. It's like a prequel. I didn't know what was going to happen. That is the one thing that I do think is a little bit like, you know, and so I wonder what people who haven't read the books think of this Netflix adaptation, because if it was a little bit hard to follow for me, then I wonder if it's like even more hard to follow if you haven't read the books. I don't know. And the last thing I also kind of want to note is that I think sometimes the dialogue was hard to understand purely in like the volume level. I think maybe something with like the sound mixing. Like I remember especially like the conversations that the Crows were having in Ketterdam, their voices were like not loud enough compared to the background noise or something. I needed subtitles. Was that just me? But that's just a small thing. I guess one last thing I could say that was like, you know, a negative is that sometimes everything felt a little bit corny. You know, like the dramatic YA romance type of stuff. I'm gonna be honest, that's not like the type of stuff that I really like, and like sometimes it bothered me in the books as well. It's another reason why I prefer the Six of Crows duology. Sometimes it felt a little bit too YA romance for my personal taste, but I will, like, you can't really fault the series for that because it is based on a YA fantasy series. They're just doing what's right for the target audience, I think. So that's really just a personal thing. Overall, I really liked it, and I think everyone that's worked on this clearly has a passion for what they're doing, and everyone has put their heart and soul into this project, and I'm really happy with it. It could have gone so wrong, guys. It could have been so bad. Yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say without spoiling anything. Now I'm gonna go into spoilers, so please go away if you haven't seen it, and otherwise keep watching because I'm gonna talk about spoilers. Okay, I'm just gonna go through my very messy notes right now. This is just stuff that I wrote on the day that I watched the show, just so I wouldn't forget. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah. About the corny romancy stuff, what I was basically talking about, you know, like the whole thing with Alina and Mal holding hands, the like symbolism that like kept coming back. I don't know, like Alina was sleeping in the little palace and Mal was like somewhere else doing his thing. They were both sleeping and they both like reached out their hands into like nothingness. You know, because like even though they're far apart, they, you know, that was just a little bit much for me. They were really trying to make us root for Mal and Alina. Like this adaptation really wants you to ship Alina and Mal. Like they really went hard on that Mal and Alina. Wow. It's a good thing that Mal is played by such a likable guy, because otherwise that would not have gone over very well, I think. Simply because a lot of people love Alina and the Darkling together. Personally, I don't really care. If I had to choose, I think I would choose the Darkling just because I love drama. What else did I write? Oh, the fold looks so cool. The fold looks so cool. Oh my god, it's genuinely terrifying. I'm so happy that it's genuinely terrifying. Just the scale of it. One thing though, am I to believe that this guy, what was his name? Alexei? The guy on the skiv in the beginning. Was I to believe that this boy ran all the way through the fold after their skiv was attacked by Volcra and made it, was not eaten? He ran all the way through the fold on his own and he was fine. I mean, he wasn't fine, but like, he made... I don't buy that. About Kaz, let's talk about Kaz. Kaz's voice is so high-pitched. I was kind of like taken aback. I was like, wow, Kaz, what happened? Because like he's known to have this like deep guttural voice. Now here he doesn't. There's something cute about it, especially because I've seen interviews with the cast and like the guy who plays Kaz seems like such a nice person to hang out with, and he's just so not like Kaz. Although his acting is really good. Like when he looks angry, like if he looked at me angrily like that, like but just like his voice, so high-pitched. I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like the way Kaz was portrayed. I understand the complaints because he's not that badass gang leader that we know, but I figured it's a prequel and he just hasn't risen to that level yet. I have to say I was very mad at the beginning when like Van Eck just like... But you know, I think that's only gonna make it more satisfying when we see the tables turned around and Kaz is the big leader. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on that one. I will say that I wasn't a big fan of how explicit his affections for Inesh were. I love how cold he is, how he manages to keep his poker face on all the time, and I don't know, I was hoping for a little more subtlety, I guess. I'm not saying that there should have been nothing, like there definitely should have been hints, but I think there was a little bit too much personal preference. I just love it to be like very subtle, like barely noticeable. I don't know why, but that's just who I am. Oh, and can we talk about the pronunciations of everything? Listen, I don't know how I was supposed to know how to pronounce stuff, but apparently I've been pronouncing everyone's name wrong. Like I can't change it now. Like Matthias just does not sound like a name. I called him Matthias or Matthias sometimes, but Matthias sounds like natural to me because I'm from Belgium and I speak Dutch. Genya? Who is Genya? It's Genya. I've been saying Genya this whole time and I think Genya is such a good name. Like I would name my kid Genya, right? Like it's Genya? No. I don't think so. It's not Genya. It's just not. Oh my god. Yvonne, you're supposed to say Ivan. Who's Ivan? Ew, no. It's Yvonne. His name is Yvonne. Can we be 100% clear on that? Please tell me I'm not the only one that called him Yvonne. Oh, by the way, I love Fedor and Yvonne's relationship. That little extra thing, it's one of those things, it's just a little extra thing they put in there, and I was like, you know what, yes, I love that. I absolutely love that, because if you've seen my book videos on the Shadow and Bone trilogy, you will know that I have a thing for Yvonne. I don't know what it is, like I just really liked Yvonne from the start. Like I know he's kind of evil and stuff, but I mean I tend to like them evil. And Yvonne was just it for me. I was just like, this guy has got it going on. I love Yvonne. And so I'm really happy that they gave him a husband. Like, I just thought that was great. But his name is Yvonne. Now, I also really want to mention Jasper, my favorite character. Jasper is my favorite character out of all the books. I love him so much. I could cry about how much I love him, and I am so happy with how he was portrayed. I was so happy. Every time he was on screen, I was smiling. I can't wait for him to meet Wyland. It's gonna be great. Just like his little mannerisms, how he's just like not perfect, but like also just so good at what he does. His little remarks were just... comedic timing was on point. It's just so good. I love that they gave him his moments to shine. I love that he got to shag the stable boy. I love that he got to meet a goat and fall in love with the goat. It was just great. I can say nothing negative about Jasper. Just 10 out of 10. One more thing that I want to say that is not a 10 out of 10, and I don't know if this is just me, but like the whole conductor situation, what's up with that? Because, okay, I like the idea of there being, you know, with the smuggling and everything and the human trafficking and then like him kind of like helping people. But if this guy has invented a machine that has made it safer to travel through the fold, why is it this underground thing? Like, this is an amazing invention. Why hasn't this been invented, and why do people still use skivs where like everyone's just like standing on deck waiting to get eaten by Volcra? Why don't people use stronger materials, something that goes faster, and something where people are protected? Why? Like, did he invent some kind of a steam train? Because it's true that whenever people are traveling in these books, it's like by horse or by skiv, right? So maybe trains and stuff haven't been invented. I just have so many questions about that. Like, how is it possible that this is the only guy who has thought of this? If an organized group of people, if leaders got together and used their brain, they could easily create something to go through the fold safer than what they have been doing, right? I don't know. I've been thinking about this for days now. Does anybody else think that's weird? I don't know. And the last thing I want to mention before I go is that I didn't even know Nina and Matthias were gonna be in this. I didn't know. I was so happy to see him, and it was great. I loved their storyline being interwoven into it, although it did add to the, you know, a lotness of it all. But, you know, I really loved their story, so that was great. And I love how Nina had her lines. Nina is one of my favorite characters as well, so I was very happy with that. Yeah, man, overall, I am very, very, very happy with this adaptation. It could have gone so bad. It's not perfect, but it's got everything that I needed from it, and it's made me so excited for the next season, which is really annoying because I watched it in one day and now I'm just gonna have to wait. But oh, I really hope that this goes far, and I hope that we get many, many seasons. It was just great, and I'm just very, very happy. Yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say. I hope this video didn't turn out too long. Yeah, I think now what I'm gonna do is probably read King of Scars, because I haven't read King of Scars yet, and I do love Nikolaj. Yeah, I don't call him Nikolai, I call him Nikolaj. It's me mispronouncing stuff, right? I hope you enjoyed this little review that I did, and yeah, have a nice day. Bye!